So it's been another long day in the workshop today, and in my infinite wisdom before the market this weekend, I decided I wanted to prototype and make a new kind of product. And I'll show you a bit of my thinking process here. But like first off, I was making one of these hooks, that hooky things. Yes. I'll flip the camera around and show you proper, and I'll tell you more about it. So the market this weekend is a big garden market out in Eidsvoll. Please do come and all of that. But I need more gardening things, and I wanted one of those pot hanging hooky things, more of these. But like, even though I like this design, it's a bit clunky and weird to get assembled. It's a really nice practice in like getting things precise and measured out and all that. But I want something to be quicker and less complicated and less parts to put together. So I did a thing. So, like previously mentioned, infinite wisdom, prototyping days before a market. I did a quick sketch, roughly getting some measurements in and sort of roughly deciding on how big. It should say 25 by 30 total, but never mind that. So I want this to be in the stem here to be similar to the other one over there, but 12 mil square. But the flat bit, the stabilizing part, I want to see if I can forge this out of a single piece. But now, starting out with this idea, I went scavenging, and I found a piece of flat bar that's 40 by 10 mil, or thereabout. So then I need to do maths and figure out how to actually cut the right length. This might turn a bit rambly because tired and need food, and I might go into more detail later on if you guys want, but like a rough way of thinking about it. Like, this is how the material transitions, I think it's mostly called. So I wanted to forge this flat bit out as a stabilizer. Ideally I actually want it wider, but this is as far as I bothered to take it right now. But yes, this is where things are currently at. Like, ignoring the actual design of it, because there's things I would like to adjust, like mentioning wanting this wider, but figuring out just how do I realize how much material I need of this to forge this out, and how much of this to forge all of the top bit out. So yeah, warning, might be rambling, but let me know if you want more details on this later on. So the quick and dirty way of figuring this out is basically starting out with just the surface area of the cross section. That's words. So with 12 millimeter I want to end up with, that would be 144, or if you're really funny, a gross. All the words. And I got 40 by 10. So 40 by 10, that's 400. Quick and easy. How many times does the small one go in the big one? In this case, it almost goes 3 times, just roughly thinking through it. What's that? 432? Maybe? Something like that. So I want 150 mil just below this white bit, and it goes 3 times in, so I need a third and a little bit in length here. So a little bit because we're doing this quick and dirty, and then this number is likely too tall for that one, so you know, we add on some extra and we'll lose a bit in scale, and maybe you make a mistake, so you need some extra. So I think I went with like 60 mil here, then I have 25 mil there to being this white bit, and then doing the same kind of maths on top of here. Now things get a bit more complicated when you annotate and add in different cross sections. Like I wanted it octagonal here and round out there. In addition, the part for the hook tapers a bit, so that makes things more complicated again. But what I do know is that I want inside diameter of the hook to be 35 mil, and 35 mil times pi in blacksmithing terms is 35 times 3, because we're simple people, and that comes out to, oh, I nearly annotate things, 105. So we round up to 110. That makes things easier. There we go, numbers. And I want to curl the Q at the end, and I want that to be, from experience, about 1 centimeter in diameter, so that's another 3 centimeters. So at that point we're coming close to 115, thereabout. And because this tapers, things get funny. But because that is basically, those 115 mil is basically a triangle, before I taper it, it is a square half the height, roughly speaking. So I can divide this by 2, and I end up again rounding things off because we're not doing things exactly, we're just prototyping. I can go for 60 mil. Yes, blacksmithing math. Get used to it. So that means I want to the second half here to be the 60 mil plus the 260, 260 plus this bit, 70 mil, and a bit extra just for the corner. And the 70 turns into 35 mil, so that leaves me at 5 and 5 and 3. Divide that by 3 again, because that's roughly the number we're working with here. I have, again, quick and dirty math. We can pretend this is 60 because this is too small, and then suddenly I got 120. See? Blacksmithing maths. It makes perfect sense. And just to prove I'm not just making things up, that means this should end up at 20 centimeters, and you can see I got, lighting things up, yeah, 120 mil for the upper bit, which is one of those things that it feels weird. It feels weird, like from experience later on you get an intuitive feeling for how material moves, but it feels weird that this bit should turn into all of that. But being able to just do the quick and dirty maths like this, even without the calculator, kind of gives you the ballpark estimates, and then you can look at it and go like, oh, well, actually, I wanted a total length here to be closer to 30, so I need to add on something somewhere, and this bit ended up a bit short because I was thinking that should be 25. So adjustments are needed, but it's a good start, I think. You can go a lot deeper into the details and calculate things proper instead of just guesstimating and making up numbers and maths and things, but quick and dirty way of doing it gets you close, especially for prototyping. You just need to remember that you will lose material in scale every time you heat it up. That varies depending on the cross-section of what you're working with, naturally, but like if you just round things up every now and again and keep relations between the scale in mind, you can get pretty darn close. But yeah, if you want like a proper video on this, maybe not so improvised, not so rambly, let me know, and I can also maybe do a bit more detail on how I actually wanted to do things, or how I think about these and calculate things out. Because yes, you can do things on a hunch, but math is better.